This is Delvin James. I'm interviewing Mrs. Susan Gwynn, second grade teacher here at Eisenhower Elementary.
Okay. As far as how long I've been teaching, I actually taught off and on from 1980 until 1992 because I had small children and we were military and moved around. So probably taught 3 years full time in that period of time, and then I did a lot of substituting. And then from 1992 on, I've taught between Germany, here, Hawaii, and I actually taught Sunday school when I was in middle school.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
And I really liked working with kids. I worked with the kindergartners mostly there,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was just really rewarding and fun. So that probably spiked my interest in teaching, but I actually got married at 19 and had not finished my college degree and promised my parents I would.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to go into accounting at that point, but I couldn't finish the degree in time before we PCS'd again.
Oh.
That's not a very fun answer, but since I'd always
Well, no,
loved
it's
teaching,
truthful.
Yeah.
So.
Since I'd always loved teaching, I thought, well, that would be a good career too. Once you have kids, you can, know what to do with them. Plus, you have some vacation with them, and it moved well with the military, and so that's really why that was my chosen profession at that point in my life. Not very exciting.
No, that is actually. What is the most vital qualification for a teacher leader to have in order to succeed?
A teacher leader?
Yes.
I feel like as a teacher leader, you have to not have preconceived notions. You need to listen to the facts.
Mm-hmm.
When people come to you with a complaint, even if it's not one that you share, you need to listen to their concerns, empathize, and then investigate. And let them know that they're valued. And so then you basically appreciate their perspective, even if it doesn't match your own, and you let them know that by investigating and coming back, following up with it.
Okay. What qualifies a teacher to become a teacher leader?
Well, first of all, I think you have to have experience. And I do think there's some people whose personalities are naturally that way, if that makes sense, because they are a little bit more empathetic. But I think in general, teachers all have the ability to do that because we lead our classrooms.
Right.
So it's just a matter of then if your comfort level will go up to that next level of kind of leading the adults. And I almost think it's a certain level of confidence that other people have in you.
Right.
So when your leader shows you that they trust you with things that require more than just the average teacher, to do or to complete, it tends to spur you on to step up to that next level.
Okay. Sounds great. Can teacher leader qualifications be acquired, or must one already possess them? I guess you kind of already.
Well, I think some people have that, but I think you can develop that in people. If you don't have a very good self-esteem about your ability to get up in front of adults, you can kind of guide somebody and mentor them and encourage them to let them know that because I know myself, I was like, when they first asked me to be team leader, I'd only been here. It was only my second year here.
Right.
And I was a little older because I moved here and started teaching here when I was already in my 40s. And when they said team leader, I was like, oh, but I don't want to. Well, you can do that. You've done this, you've done this, you've done this. You've proven that you're capable. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try it. But, and then once you have some success with it, you're willing to take that step a little further.
Right.
And then that's pretty much how I got the job at the Devon Center, too. I was sought out, in a sense, for that based on some of the things I'd done here. So I think if it's recognized and it's encouraged, then you can develop that capacity in them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some people naturally come with that capacity. So I think it can be developed, but some people don't need as much of a shove in that direction. Some people need to be squelched. But
Exactly. And then it's just like, it always feels good to be seeked out for something.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that shows what kind of character you have when people do that.
Well, and I think as a teacher leader, you need to remember that how beneficial that was to you. So you need to nurture those that are new or younger or lack that confidence, to let them know that they can go in that direction as well.
Right. What role does attitude play in the life of a teacher leader, team leader?
With the experience I've had, and I've dealt with other people that have been at like the level above me, Some of them tell you what to do, as opposed to help you decide what path. You're not really a leader if you're telling people which way to go.
Right.
And I know that one of the people I worked with at the Devon Center, she already had a notion of where she wanted things to go. Actually, two of them did. One was really crafty, though, and she could guide you to her point of view without you even realizing it, whereas the other one would pretty much say, once you presented everything to her, she would say, no, we're going to do it this way.
Right.
Well, when you get somebody like that, you pretty much shut down. It's like, then just tell me what to do. But
Exactly.
if you get somebody who really does kind of have in their head which way they want you to go, and they're, have you thought about this? Or they present you with facts, they're guiding you to that direction. You feel like you have some ownership in it, even though having taken some other classes and some leadership pieces, now I realize that's what they were doing to me. I didn't at the time.
Right.
So I think that person is a much more effective leader because you're getting that end result you want, but you're getting the buy-in from the people that are doing the work for you and with you. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. I know I had sent you that paper where I asked you what characteristics you thought I had. What characteristics do you think that your other teachers or coworkers, colleagues would say that you have?
That I have? I do. Many of them have told me they think I'm a good listener, and I'm approachable. So I think those are two characteristics that most of them would agree on. I'm pretty flexible. Sometimes I think other people think I'm more flexible than I am because I really do like to know what's happening next. But I understand that there's things that are going to play into that.
Right.
But I don't feel like I make good adaptations at the last minute. But other people seem to think I'm flexible, so I guess I fake it well. But, I really don't know. I don't know. I think I'm empathetic, and I think I have enough life experience that typically when they bring a problem or a situation to me, I probably have either dealt with it myself or I've known somebody who has, so I don't want to call that worldly because it's really not, but I've got a lot of life experience.
Okay. And I definitely agree with most of those, or all of them, especially the empathetic. I think you've kind of shown me a little bit on how to be empathetic too. Because I did learn there is a difference between empathetic and being sympathetic. And these kids, they come up with all kinds of stories, and you can empathize of what they're going through, but at the same time, they're in school to learn, and you have to be able to
high expectations. Yeah.
Right. How does the leadership here at Eisenhower affect your own leadership, and how do you deal with negative feedback?
About my personal leadership, negative feedback, or in general?
The leadership here at school, like how do you feel about that?
Well, it is interesting because since I have worked at the Devon Center, and now I'm back here, a lot of times what people find negative, they think it's dictated by the leadership here, where it's not. And so I think sometimes I can just help people realize, sometimes the leadership here doesn't like the message any better than we do.
Right.
So don't shoot the messenger because she's being told what to do as well.
Right.
And I think a lot of people think the principal is the power of the building, and she
No.
has a level of leadership, a couple of levels of leadership above her.
Exactly.
So even if it's not to your liking, if that is the policy, I think it's good that she can convey that that's her idea, so people are trying to buy into it without saying, well, I don't really want to do this. I mean, that's not going to solve anything. You shouldn't approach it like that. I don't like this either, but we've got to do it.
Right.
She doesn't approach it like that. She'll come out and she'll say, we have to do this by next week.
Exactly.
It's a lot of work, but, and I know that sometimes she takes the heat for it too, because people are like, if we have to do this next week, why is she just telling us now? Well, she probably just found out about it, but she doesn't put the blame off on somebody else. So I think leadership sometimes is doing the things that you don't totally agree with or that are unpopular, but that for the mission or for the task it needs to be done.
Right.
So as far as the leadership here, you always think, well, I think I would have handled it this way, or maybe it could have been handled that way. So it's just human nature to kind of be somewhat critical if you don't always agree with the way things are done. But
Right.
at the same time, I think I can pull that perspective back and say, well, I may have said it this way, or a little less edgy, or a little more, to the point.
Right.
But overall, I think she does what she has to do based on what they're told, and then I appreciate the fact that if people don't like it or if they agree with it or whatever the case be, that they come talk with somebody else too. But I'm more of a head-on too. If I've done something you don't like, I want you to come to me.
That's true.
So, but I think the team leaders here are supposed to function as that buffer.
Right.
So, especially for the newer teachers that don't feel comfortable going in and approaching her with the negative.
Right. Yeah, that's true. When you speaking of change, when you become aware of it, how do you react? Like any changes that happen in the curriculum, or we always have events going on here, so those might pop up, and like you said before, you might only get like a few days notice.
I appreciate that we try to do so many things here, special events and everything like that. Sometimes it is frustrating because I know, okay, I've got to get all this assessment done this week, and now I'm losing this chunk of time. But education is about flexibility, and really, even if you think you have your week planned out, you don't have your week planned out, because based on the needs of the kids, you've got to change your instructions sometimes.
Right.
So if an event comes up, I kind of roll with the punches. I may grinch and grumble under my breath a little bit, but then you move on. Change in curriculum is typically exciting for me because, like right now, we need such huge change because the Common Core has changed everything that we do, and it's frustrating to me that we don't have the curriculum to support that.
Right.
I think you realize how much you rely on your curriculum when you don't have it. You know you have to supplement, but when you don't have a curriculum to be going from, even with somebody with experience, it's like, how can I get this point across to them? What resources do I have? And it takes so much more time. So I like the change in curriculum because I think this district is really good about researching it. Sometimes it takes a long time to find the right one, but typically when we find one, it's a pretty good fit for at least a several-year period.
Right.
So.
And I've already started seeing some changes in, you guys have been having to go to the Devon Center and go to different events lately. I don't know if it was like that last year because I wasn't here at the beginning, but I have noticed that.
And I know some people complain how much professional development this district does, but I also have friends who teach in other districts that don't have that support for teachers. And I guess if you've never known it, maybe you wouldn't miss it. And some is better than others. But in general, I think most of the professional development we go to is really targeted to what the bulk of the teachers need.
Right.
I mean, it would be nice if we could have different opportunities of professional development, like if I needed help with doing more writing and this person needed more math, and this, it'd be nice if we could like partner with other schools and have more of a focus on the content you felt like you needed. But then the problem with that is sometimes I may not really know what I need.
Right.
And I may keep picking writing, and I really need help in math. So at least this way globally we get an exposure to all the content areas.
Right.
I kind of went off topic. But
Oh, no, it's fine. What do you feel is the best way for your school to influence the community around it?
Well, I think site council is one of the good ways. We do have some community members in it as opposed to just teachers and parents. I think that the things that go on in the paper and the most improved student and that sort of thing that they do at City Commission, just doing events that the public are aware of, the walks, different things like that, just keeping ourselves out there in the eye and trying to involve the community. Like the lady that's volunteering now to get hours for school said, do people ever volunteer here that are not parents? And I said, not very often. They used to have business partnerships that they did, and they don't do that so much anymore. And then the military battalions, that were connected. But I told her, you are more than welcome to come volunteer if you want to afterward, because she said she just wanted to keep her hand in education since that's where she was going. And she said, I just like being around and seeing what people do. It helps me think,
right,
what I want to do and how I want to do things. And I said, the more exposure you have to that, the better. But it is hard because everybody works. So to get people from the community in here, and parents will bring their kids to carnivals, but you don't typically have, some grandparents will, but if you were somebody that didn't have grandkids or whatever here, it's hard to get you interested in the school that's right around you.
Exactly.
But I think that, we try. We have things like, the TV channel on the cable channel that some people see.
Right. And so they can choose what they want to come to or not.